Hello learners, welcome to NIOS Studio, and the course which I am taking today is 509. Myself Dr. Ritu Bakshi, Assistant Professor, Department of Educational Studies, Central University of Jammu. And the topic which I am covering today for you people is strategies for social science, that is role play and project. So dear learners, today we are discussing about various strategies which we use in social sciences, and majorly we are taking up two strategies, that is role play and project method. So the today's topic will cover, describe the various strategies for social science, describe the characteristics of role play, identify the advantages of project method and characteristics and steps in a project method. So we will be covering role play as well as project method. Dear learners, we know that social sciences is one of the school subjects at the upper primary level, and it covers diverse concerns of the society and includes a wide range of content driven from various disciplines of history, geography, political science, economics, sociology and anthropology. The content should be transacted through various activities drawing on the local resources, and this was said by NCF 2005. What I mean to say here is that the content which a teacher transacts in the daily routine classes, it should be drawn through the local resources, and what we should do, we should actually include the students with the local resources so that they can make their learning effective and long lasting. And in this lesson, we are actually going to learn what are the various strategies which should be taken as for making the learning very effective. So learners, there are various factors which depend in choosing the type of strategy we are going to choose, and those things which we need to keep in mind are objectives and content. When we talk of objectives, depending on the type of objective, that is knowledge, understanding, application and skill, etc., you have to select the strategy. And coming to the content part, every content demands different strategies. You have to analyze the content and then decide upon the requisite strategy which will be effective. Next in this will be the availability of resources. Before deciding the strategy, a social sciences teacher should always aware of availability of the resources. Strategy has to be decided on the basis of availability of the resources, and this is very important point when we talk of choosing any strategy in social sciences. Ability of the students are central for taking any decision. Depending on the interest, skill and ability of students, you will have to select the strategy. That means the major thing which we need to take care of is the interest of student, his skill and the ability of the student. This is the major thing which we need to take care of. Teaching of social sciences creates in the learners a strong sense of human values, and these human values are freedom, trust, mutual respect and respect for diversity. So these are the social values which we need to inculcate while teaching social sciences. Social science teaching should aim at generating in students a critical, moral and mental energy, making them alert to social forces that threaten these values. Many strategies are used to teach social science effectively. So when we are talking of strategies, the role play is one of the major strategy which we need to take care of. Students play a part in their own or somebody else in the specific situation. This is role play. That is, a student has to play a part. And next is, the student has to be given the information about who they are, what they think and what they feel. This is very important when we talk of role play. And the word role implies accepting part in a sequence, and play means acting it out. That means role play is playing an actful part and playing a part role. Now, role has various steps, various things, that is fixing a theme, deciding on the type of roles. Next will be the number of students required, developing the conversation, then a small rehearsal, and then feedback by the teacher and the peers and evaluation by the teacher. So, these are various things which a teacher has to take care of. These are the steps for the role play. Students alone, in pairs or groups. This thing the teacher has to decide. Second, which teacher has to concentrate upon is the role will be short or long. This should be decided previously, open or tightly controlled, defined by teacher and students, and there are various types of roles which are useful for the real world. Roles which are useful for the real world needs, that is social roles, or roles can be from TV, newspapers, books, or there may be some fictional roles. It all depends on the type of the problem, it all depends on the type of the content which a teacher is teaching in the classroom. Other features are language practice rather than learning. Practicing a language is very important in any type of learning. So, this method gives a very good language practice rather than learning. Fluency over accuracy. It is a low input, high output technique. This technique gives a very good output and it includes very low input. That means the presentation by the teacher is very short and the real role has to be played by a student. It can be performed for the other students or recorded in a video. Moving on to the next points, the students feel that they are the real participants of the situation. Simulated environment away from the real world. The role which is given to the students has to be acted in a simulated environment which is being created by the teacher. Simulations must have a structure. The students do not invent anything, they are provided all the facts. This role play is less open-ended, that is, it is close-ended, and it includes many other types of activities like analysis of data, reading, writing, discussion of options, and it all depends on the content of the course. Students find themselves in a different world and they get a very enriching experiences which makes the learning long lasting and effective. Now, many people are getting confused with role play and drama. So, let me clarify here, dear learners, that there is lot of difference in drama and role play. In drama, learners think like Mr. Smith, and in role play they are Mr. Smith. Are you getting my point? In drama you have to think like Mr. Smith, and in role play you have to act like Mr. Smith, that you are Mr. Smith. They directly experience the role. Drama is practiced, memorized and performed for other students, and role play there is no audience, all the students are audience and they are playing the role play depending on the content of the subject. No over complex emotional or psychological features, emotion should arise naturally. This is the main feature of this, that we have to choose the subjects that are safe, emphasis on the play rather than role, begin with pair work rather than group work, that is less self-conscious. This makes the students less self-conscious, because if you are working in a pair, this makes the students psychologically less conscious. Short activities until the students get used to it. Teacher should make sure that the students have understood the situation and the role cards before you start. Start with pair work and easy information gap role plays. Always have a follow-up activity for those who finish soon. The teacher has to take care of those students also who finish the role play very soon, because then they are to be followed by the follow-up activity. Set a time limit and stick to it. Now, what is the role of teacher in role play? If the students are playing a role, depending on the content of the course, what is the role which teacher has to play? Now, the teacher is facilitator, the teacher is participant. That means as a facilitator, the role of the teacher is to only facilitate the students the right content and the right role. Students do not know what to say next. Leave them on their own, that is, it is not pre-framed, and discrete suggestions without interrupting. As a participant, the teacher help in a hidden way, that is, by introducing new information for the development of role play, ensure students' involvement and do not participate too much. So, teacher has to take care that teacher is not to participate too much in this course, in this role play, because role play is to be done by the students. Teacher is a feedback provider. This is the very important role which a teacher has to play. Feedback has to be given in two contexts. One is positive and second is negative, that is telling them what mistakes they have done. So, after the role play, the first thing a teacher has to give their positive points, that is creativity, originality, correct expressions. And in the second phase, as a feedback provider, teacher has to show the students their mistakes. Walk around the classroom listening to the students and noting down the mistakes you would like to deal with. Asking the students what can be improved. Write them on the blackboard, and remedial exercises should be prepared beforehand. And teacher has to also give the feedback about the content and language which is being used in the role play. Dear learners, look at the picture. Here the students are engaged in the role play activities, and these activities have been assigned by the teachers depending on the content of the course. Now, there are many advantages of this role play method. It improves the speaking skills. It promotes interaction. Practice all language aspects, structures, vocabulary, pronunciation. That means it covers all the aspects which are being used in the best learning and effective learning. Train for real specific situations in a safe context. It is a fun, it is real fun, it makes learning a fun, and it is a motivating activity. It includes the world outside, that is the activities which are based on the tasks. It involves the people from the outside world, that is the students are being involved in the extension activities. Small talks, expressions to start a conversation. It is important in social relationships, because social sciences is a subject in which social relationships are very important, and this is very important component when we are talking of studying and learning of social sciences. Missing in traditional teaching. This was actually missing in the traditional teaching. For example, the students, when they make the dialogues like beautiful day, isn't it? Are you enjoying yourself? Have you worked here long? Pretty nice place. Who? So, they not only are well versed with the pronunciation, with the language, but they become very confident while they are playing a role of somebody else. And this helps a lot to the shy students by providing them with a mask. When there are some shy students in the classroom, and what a teacher can do, they can give them the role in which they have to wear a mask. Of course, this role play method has many disadvantages also. It is very time consuming method. Sometimes the teacher has the constraint of time and space. It also creates a lot of noise and chaos sometimes in the institution. Use of mother tongue, sometimes the people uses only mother tongue and they are not well versed with the other languages. Difficulty of assuming somebody else's personality, sometimes they are not able to grasp the personality, and sometimes shyness is the factor which does not allow the student to perform their role perfectly. So, these are some of the practice activities which a teacher can give depending on the content of the course, that is booking in a hotel. The students can be given an activity that yes, you have to play a role, there is a hotel, give them an activity and somebody comes and he will book a hotel. Picture role play or the lost property office, role switching, simulation, that is supermarket magic, and so many activities a student can do, the role play can be given to the students. Now coming to the project method. Project method in social studies can create wonders because project method is directly related with the activities. So in the project method we are going to discuss many things, that is how this project method works, what is the definition of this project method, what are the types of the project method and characteristics of the project methods, and what steps we are going to follow in the project method in social sciences, because this method makes social sciences very effective and long lasting experience for the students. A project is a wholehearted, purposeful activity proceeding in a social environment, and this definition is being given by Kilpatrick. It is a voluntary understanding which involves constructive effort, thought and many things into the objective results. Thomas and Long has given this definition. A project, it is a unit of the activity which individual or group involving the investigation and solution of the problems, and it is planned and carried out to the conclusion under the guidance of a teacher. So these are the definitions of the project method. Kilpatrick in his paper on the project method in 1918 has classified the projects on the basis of the tasks involved. The first one is problem type. The project that involves the investigation of a solution of the practical problems. For example, doing a project on the problem of literacy level is in a nearby village. This is a problem type project method. Second is product type, a project that involves construction of a useful material, object or article to embody some idea or a plan in the external form, that is making the model of a wooden or some concrete bridge or village or some product, that is the student has to make a product. Next activity is consumer type, a project that provides opportunities for experience on a particular area, field and writing an account of it. For example, attending a festival in a village and writing on the account of its aesthetic value. And next type of the project method is drill type, a project that provides opportunities for mastery of skill or knowledge on the particular area or field. For example, writing a critical analysis on the subject of government during the rule of first and second era. There are many principles on which the project method is based. The first principle is principle of utility, that is project work attempts to study, investigate and find solution to a practical problem. The problem is not abstract but a concrete one which the learner can identify. The learner is convinced of the need to investigate the problem as it definitely has an impact on the life around him. Thus, the project has a utility value. So, the principle of utility is the major principle that whatever project a teacher gives to the student, it should have utility for the student. Second is principle of readiness. Unless a student is ready to learn or unless a student is motivated to learn, no learning can take place and nobody is interested in doing that particular activity. The learners in the principle of readiness are allowed to choose any form of a set of problem which is presented. Then learners are given freedom to choose the problem based on their interest. As a result, the learners show a high degree of readiness. That is, principle of readiness is very important in the project method, because without readiness principle, the project is not going to be a very effective activity. Next is the principle of learning by doing. This method is activity based and the learners acquire the knowledge based on work and practical experience. Thus, whatever learning takes place is the byproduct of the activity, and this makes learning a memorable and an enriching experience. The principle of freedom at work. Next is the principle of freedom at work. In the project method, the freedom which a teacher gives to the student has a very important role. The teacher acts only as a guide and facilitator, and the learners enjoy a high degree of freedom to choose and work on their own with least assistance from the teacher. The freedom allowed to the student facilitates the process of emotional and intellectual development in the child. That means a teacher has to give a freedom to the child, because this is very important factor. Now moving to the next slide. The principle of socialization is very important. The project work attempts to provide opportunities for the student to acquire social skills necessary at the later stage to move and fit into the system of society easily and profitably. The student under this method comes into contact with the social environment, and during the course of active interaction with the various elements of social environment, they acquire the requisite social skills. Now, there are many advantages of this project method, that is, it takes the students beyond the walls of classroom, it is carried out in a natural setting, thus it makes the learning realistic and experiential, it encourages investigative learning, and it gives solution to many problems. It is focused on the students as it enlists his or her active involvement in the project. It enhances the students' social skills as it requires the interaction with the social environment. The teacher plays and facilitates the role rather than the role of an expert. That is, a teacher is only facilitator. It allows the students a great degree of freedom to choose the topics, and it encourages the spirit of research in the students. Dear learners, you can look at the picture that how the students are involved in making some project or in making some activity which is based on the project. So, this project method, it contains many other plannings also, like classroom planning, execution and conclusion stage. So, in classroom planning starts with providing the set of problems, and second step in this will be selecting and defining the problem. That means when we are talking of this classroom management, these 2 points are very important. Third step will be formulating hypothesis. Fourth will be planning, designing the methods to test the hypothesis formulated. And in the execution stage, the students have to come in the contact with the social environment. And fifth will be the collection of data, then interpreting the data and then reviewing the data. So, after reviewing the data, they have to report the project to the teacher. So, there are many other types of projects which we discussed here. In the execution stage, the dear learners, you need to interpret the data and you need to review the data. That means interpretation of data and reviewing the data is very important in the project method. And then in the conclusion stage, you have to report whatever project you have made. That means reporting of that project is very important, and there are many journal types of steps also, that is forming the groups, selection of themes, identifying sub-themes, listing the work to be done under such sub-themes, selection of the sub-theme, accepting a specific task by every member of the group, collection of the resources and information, preparing the presentation, group presentations, discussion and peer teacher feedback. So, these are the important things which we need to take care of when we are talking of the project method. So, my dear learners, we have learnt that law of readiness, law of exercise, law of effect, these are the principles when we are framing the project methods. The students have to work. That means first principle is readiness, exercise, and then what we are taking out of this. You can see that how the students are learning through the project method, through the activity and through interaction, and they are actually getting the benefit of many these qualities like tolerance, self-dependence, resourcefulness and other socially desirable and culturally responsive responsibilities they are taking through the project method. So, overall I can say that this is the democratic way of learning and students need to choose and plan themselves. But the only major demerit of this method is it is time consuming, and the whole syllabus sometimes is not completed because of the project work. So my dear learners, in this we talked about the role play and the project as the methods of learning in social sciences. Thank you very much.
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो, धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
मित्रों हम उठे और जागे,
मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय का है द्वार खुला सबकी खातिर। शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर।
शिक्षा और परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर। दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बात,
कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने,
हिंदुस्तान के हर कोने में नौजवानों के पास प्रतिभा है, उन्हें अवसर चाहिए।
NIOS देता रहा है युवाओं को अवसर आगे बढ़ने का। NIOS से पढ़ने वाले इन युवाओं ने किया है संस्थान को गौरवान्वित। दिव्यांगों ने बन के दिखाया है सबल और आत्मनिर्भर। NIOS के साथ आप भी जुड़िए NIOS के संग।